Hello guys and welcome to my channel. In this video, we're talking about everything we should know about the April's Fool. But before we continue our video, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon for more interesting videos. April Fool's Day, also called All Fool's Day, is in most countries the first day of April. It received its name from the custom of playing practical jokes on this day. For example, telling friends that their shoelaces are untied, or sending them on so-called fool's errands. Although the day has been observed for centuries, its true origins are unknown and effectively unknowable. It resembles festivals such as the Hilaria of ancient Rome, held on March 25th, and the Holy Celebration in India, which ends on March 31st. Some have proposed that the modern custom originated in France, officially with the Edict of Poisson, promulgated in August 1564, in which Charles IX decreed that the New Year would no longer begin on Easter, as had been common throughout Christendom, but rather on January 1st. Because Easter was a lunar and therefore movable date, those who clung to the old ways were the April Fools. Others have suggested that the timing of the day may be related to the Vernal Equinox, March 21st, a time when people are fooled by sudden changes in the weather. There are variations between countries in celebration of April Fool's Day, but all have in common an excuse to make someone play the fool. In France, for example, the fooled person is called Poisson d'Avril, April fish, perhaps in reference to a young fish, and hence to one that is easily caught. It is common for French children to pin a paper fish to the backs of unsuspecting friends. In Scotland, the day is Gowkie Day, for the gowk, or cuckoo, a symbol of the fool and the cuckold, which suggests that it may have been associated at one time with license. On the following day, signs reading "Kick me" are pinned to the friends' backs. In many countries, newspapers and the other media participate, for example, with false headlines or news stories. Origins of April Fool's Day. April Fool's Day, occurring on April 1st each year, has been celebrated for several centuries by different cultures, though its exact origins remain a mystery. April Fool's Day traditions include playing hoaxes or practical jokes and other, often yelling "April Fools" at the end to clue in the subject of the April Fool's Day prank. While its exact history is shrouded in mystery, the embrace of April Fool's Day jokes by the media and major brands has ensured the unofficial holiday's long life. Origins of April Fool's Day. Some historians speculate that April Fool's Day dates back to 1582, when France switched from the Julian calendar to the Gregorian calendar, as called for by the Council of Trent in 1563. In the Julian calendar, as in the Hindu calendar, the new year began with the spring equinox around April 1st. People who were slow to get the news or failed to recognize that the start of the new year had moved to January 1st and continued to celebrate it during the last week of March through April 1st became the butt of jokes and hoaxes and were called April Fools. These pranks included having paper fish placed on their backs and being referred to as Poisson d'Avril, April fish, said to symbolize a young, easily caught fish and a gullible person. Hilaria in ancient Rome. Historians have also linked April Fool's Day to festivals such as Hilaria, Latin for joyful, which was celebrated in ancient Rome at the end of March by followers of the cult of Cybele. It involved people dressing up in disguises and mocking fellow citizens and even magistrates, and was said to be inspired by the Egyptian legend of Isis, Osiris, and Seth. Vernal Equinox and April Fools. There is also speculation that April Fool's Day was tied to the Vernal Equinox, or first day of spring in the Northern Hemisphere, when Mother Nature fooled people with changing unpredictable weather. In 1508, French poet Eloy d'Amerol referred to a Poisson d'Avril, April Fool, literally April's fish, possibly the first reference to the celebration in France. Some historians suggest that April Fools originated because in the Middle Ages, New Year's Day was celebrated on 25th March in most European towns, with a holiday that in some areas of France specifically ended on 1st April. And those who celebrated New Year's Eve on 1st January made fun of those who celebrated on other dates by the invention of April Fool's Day. The use of 1st January as New Year's Day became common in France only in the mid-16th century, and that date was not adopted officially until 1564 by the Edict of Poisson, as called for during the Council of Trent in 1563. However, there are issues with this theory, because there is an unambiguous reference to April Fool's Day in a 1561 poem by Flemish poet Edouard Dildeen, of a nobleman who sends his servants on foolish errands on 1st April, predating the change. April Fool's Day was also an established tradition in Great Britain before 1st January was established as the start of the calendar year, In the UK, an April Fool prank is sometimes later revealed by shouting April Fool at the recipient, who becomes the April Fool. A study in the 1950s by folklorists Lona and Peter Opie found that in the UK and in countries whose traditions derived from the UK, this continues to be the practice, with the custom ceasing at noon, after which time it is no longer acceptable to play pranks. Thus, a person playing a prank after midday is considered the April Fool themselves. April Fool pranks. A common prank is to carefully remove the cream from an Oreo and replace it with toothpaste. And there are many similar pranks that replace an object, usually food, with another object that looks like the object but tastes different, such as replacing sugar with salt and vanilla frosting with sour cream. As well as people playing pranks on one another on April Fool's Day, elaborate pranks have appeared on radio and television stations, newspapers and websites, and have been performed by large corporations. In one famous prank in 1957, the BBC broadcast a film in their Panorama Current Affairs series purporting to show Swiss farmers picking freshly grown spaghetti, in which they called the Swiss Spaghetti Harvest. The BBC was soon flooded with requests to purchase a spaghetti plant, forcing them to declare the film a hoax on the news the next day. With the advent of the internet and readily available global news services, April Fool's pranks can catch and embarrass a wider audience than ever before. Comparable prank days. 28 December, the equivalent day in Spain and Hispanic America, is also the Christian day of celebration of the Day of the Holy Innocents. The Christian celebration is a religious holiday in its own right, but the tradition of pranks is not, though the latter is observed yearly. In some regions of Hispanic America, after a prank is played, the cry is made, "Innocent, palomita qui di digaste and ganar," you innocent little dove that let yourself be fooled, not to be confused with another meaning of palomita, which means popcorn in some dialects. In many English-speaking countries, mainly Britain, Ireland, Australia, New Zealand, and South Africa, it is a custom to say "pin and punch" for the first of the month, or an alternative typically by children. The victim might respond with a flick and a kick for being so quick, and the attacker might reply with a punch in the eye for being so sly. Another custom in Britain and North America is to say "rabbit rabbit" upon waking on the first day of a month for good luck. How to celebrate April Fool's Day? There are many ways to celebrate April Fool's Day. Some common traditions include playing pranks on friends and family. This might involve hiding objects and then pretending to have lost them, pretending to have a fake injury, or creating a fake news story to trick someone. Sending prank emails or making prank phone calls. This is a popular way to celebrate April Fool's Day, especially in the workplace. Media organizations participating, some media companies will publish a fake news article or air a humorous show as part of the holiday. Throwing an April Fool's Day party. Some people like to celebrate the holiday with a party, where people can play pranks on one another and share jokes. What are some of the most famous April Fool's pranks? There have been several famous or infamous April Fool's pranks over the years, and here are a few examples. The BBC's Spaghetti Tree hoax in 1957. The BBC aired a segment on its news program showing footage of Swiss farmers harvesting spaghetti from trees. The segment was presented as a serious news story, and many people believed it was true. Google's Gmail paper service. In 2007, Google announced that it was launching a new service called Gmail Paper, which would allow users to have physical copies of their emails printed and mailed to them. The announcement was made on 1st April, and many people initially believed it was real. Taco Bell's Puerto Rico hoax in 1996. Taco Bell announced that it had purchased the Liberty Bell and would be renaming it to Taco Liberty Bell. The announcement caused a public outcry, and Taco Bell later admitted that was an April Fool's Day prank. April Fool's Day is a day when people love to play pranks and practical jokes on each other. While its origins are unclear, the tradition has spread throughout the world and has become a popular holiday. It's a day when people can have fun and let their hair down, but it's also important to remember to be respectful and not hurtful to others. So go out and have fun, but be sure to keep it lighthearted and in good fun. Thank you for watching this video, and we hope you found it informative. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. Happy April Fool's Day!